Hi, and welcome to the Media Obscura podcast. I'm your host, Nick, and I'm joined by everyone's favorite half-horse, half-human, part-icicle hybrid, Mike.
I prefer ice centaur.
What's an ice centaur?
It's just a centaur, covered in ice.
Is it like an ice sculpture?
I guess it's like Encino Man with, what the hell is his name?
With Encino Man.
Who played the
know.
mummy?
Brendan Fraser?
Yeah, it's like Encino Man, Brendan Fraser trapped in ice. So I'm just a centaur trapped in ice.
Okay. That's kind of hot. I mean, cold?
Cold.
Chilly.
There you go.
Okay, frigid. Anyway, welcome to the Media Obscura podcast. It's the very first episode.
It's history in the making.
Yes. In the great hierarchy of American culture and American history, number 1, the moon landing. Number 2, Michael Jackson's first moonwalk.
Oh, of course.
Naturally. Number 3, the Chipotle I had for lunch today.
Ooh.
Yeah.
And then
Really going down in the history books, if
and
you
then
know
number
what
4,
I mean.
this.
And number 4, this. So I'm sure a lot of people are probably wondering, what is the Media Obscura podcast?
Yeah, I'm wondering too.
Yeah, I kind of just, I'm really sorry about the circumstances under which you're here. I just kind of let myself into your house and dragged you over.
Yeah,
it's especially weird because you live in Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
I drove across state lines. I think that's kidnapping in 2 states now.
Am I a kid though?
You sure act like one.
Oh, yeah.
But the Media Obscura podcast is a show that I've wanted to make for a super long time with you, where we basically check out something that we deem obscure, using the term very, very loosely.
Very loosely.
And we just kind of experience it and talk about it afterwards. We don't necessarily dissect it. We don't even necessarily talk about it in order. We just talk about it.
Talk about it and why it emotionally scarred us.
Sure, scarred us, moved us, what it made us think of.
Yeah. And what we would do differently or
Yeah, stuff
what
like
would have made
that.
it funnier.
And what's really cool about the podcast is it's not just limited to movies or TV.
No.
I'd love to, somewhere down the line, do episodes about video games. Maybe while we're playing the games, live stream that or something. I also really want to do music episodes. And honestly, if there's like a super obscure play that's playing near us, I'll drag you to it.
Oh boy.
Now get a lasso.
Now for the
and
music,
I'll just drag you over.
Oh Lord. Now for the music, we'll be able to play the music for them and then we can talk about it, or are we going to get copyrighted?
No, so we're just going to talk about it after the fact.
Okay.
Yeah, even in the case of like movies and games, we're not going to play clips in the episodes. So it's up to you guys to decide if you want to go in blind or if you want to look at the title of the episode and then check out whatever it is.
So you know what you're in for.
Exactly. In the case of today's topic, it's easily available on YouTube. So if you are curious about it after the episode, or you want to stop now, watch it, and then come back to join us again, you do you. You're an adult. I trust you. Just, get back before 11. It's a weird time of year.
Also, don't stop and then watch it while you're driving. Because you need to focus 100% on this movie.
Yeah. There's a lot of nuance to it. Very nuanced. So what are we watching today? Or what have we watched today?
We watched the 1977 Spider-Man.
Yes. I'm sorry. The way the pause, the dramatic pause you took there just reminded me of the Movie Phone guy. Do you remember Movie Phone? It was something from the 90s. It was in a Seinfeld episode where Kramer impersonates him. You might remember that episode, but basically...
Can you hear me now?
No, that's Verizon.
Okay.
The Movie Phone guy was essentially, it was a number you called. I'm going to misremember this, I'm sure, because I never actually used it. I'm a filthy millennial. I used Fandango like the rest of us. Not a sponsor, not a plug. Although if they want to plug.
Yeah, please sponsor us, Fandango.
Yeah.
We love you.
It's like they don't even care, man.
But what about this phone guy?
Okay, yeah. Sorry, I wasn't going to launch into a Wayne's World bit. Yeah, so Movie Phone was like basically this thing where you'd call and you'd get showtimes at your local theater.
Oh.
So it's essentially the AMC app, but like you have to actually call someone.
It was before internet. You had to call.
Yeah, it was the 90s.
You had to call. All right.
Yeah.
That's dumb. Thank God for the internet.
I'm sure in the 90s it wasn't.
It's dumb. I don't want to talk to people. I just want to look it up, get throwing my day. And
yeah. Fair
To
enough.
call him.
It was an automated number. So when you would
Drive up
type
my
in,
data plan.
press 1 for showtimes for Face Off. Like there was always these pauses.
Or 2 for 1977 Spider-Man.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah. So today, for the first episode of the Media Obscura podcast, we're going to be talking about the 1977 Spider-Man movie
Oh my god.
/ TV show
Yeah, TV show too.
/ train wreck that you really can't stop looking at because it's just so colorful.
But it exists.
Yeah. So funny backstory about this thing. I actually watched this when we were in high school. I mean, you know this, but
Yeah.
people listening don't.
This is back in what, 2010?
Yeah, 2010,
sophomore year?
2011. Yeah, something like that. And I remember watching this on YouTube back in the day and kind of being like, oh, this is amazing. This is hilarious. And it's so bad in every single way. I love it so much because I'm a teenager and I don't know what quality is. Look at me. I'm so different and indie.
It's perfect.
It's perfectly bad. Yeah, it's bad.
It's just bad.
This is the first time I've seen it in like 8 or 9 years. And legitimately, I can't believe that I used to watch like an episode or 2 of this a night.
I'll tell you what, I had a blast making fun of it.
Yeah. No, I mean, so did I. But like, it makes me wonder if all those years ago, I actually enjoyed it. Or even back then, if I was kind of like, this is garbage. Because if 14 or 15-year-old Nick watched this all those years ago and was like, oh, I'm okay with this, there's a problem. No. That means I'm damaged goods. That means that I'm a ticking time bomb walking down the street thinking that the 70s Spider-Man was watchable.
It's a decent movie.
I could lose my degree for that.
And now you've recorded it saying you have.
Ah, crap.
Ooh.
So let's get started.
All right. So where would you like to start?
Well, first, I'd like to know a bit about Spider-Man and like how you feel, but not about just this Spider-Man, but like all iterations.
History of Spider-Man.
Yeah. Like, well, no, I mean your history of Spider-Man. Like
my history.
What do you think of the character?
He's a bug. Oh, I'm sorry, an arachnid.
Yeah.
Shoots webs from his fingers or has a machine. That's never clear for me. I grew up with the Sam Raimi Spider-Man. That's I never really watched the comics.
I don't think you watched them.
No, damn it. I never read the comics. I grew up, as I said, with the Spider-Man with Tobey Maguire.
Okay, so you grew up watching the Sam Raimi movies.
Yeah.
Same.
Because I had the toys of I remember I had the Green Goblin and I had the chair and had the mask on the side of the chair. And if you pressed the seat down, it would talk.
Wait, that's really cool.
It was a Green Goblin would sit in the chair and he would speak and be like, oh my God, it's a Green Goblin.
It's crazy to think I didn't actually have Spider-Man toys growing up.
Mm-hmm.
Even though he is arguably, I mean, he's in like my top 5 superheroes. Mm-hmm. I didn't have any Spider-Man merch. You know what? That's a lie. I had one Spider-Man action figure, but just the one. And meanwhile, I had like a million different Batmans and Supermans probably. But I remember when I saw that Sam Raimi movie as a kid, that thing blew me away. I think that's the first movie I actively remember going to the theater and watching. Because when that came out in 2002, so we were like 7.
Yeah, we were 7 years old. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember watching those movies and being like, I love this Spider-Man. I remember hating Mary Jane, though. I did not like her.
You didn't like her?
I did not like her.
No one likes her.
She just seemed so mean, and Spider-Man didn't deserve her. I mean, she didn't deserve Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Yeah, Toby, come on.
Well, I mean, I guess Spider-Man didn't deserve her too, with that logic.
Yeah.
I don't know. But
they're 2 different people.
Yeah. I actually remember when I was like, again, 6 or 7, I remember because I didn't have any Spider-Man shirts or anything. This had to have been during the summer when the movie came out, because I think it came out in like May 2002. So it came out when we were in the 1st grade. I know that much. And we're really aging ourselves. Yeah, we're dating ourselves pretty badly. I just remember it being one night, let's just say one night in May, around the time the movie had come out.
Okay.
And I remember running around my house and playing Spider-Man because I'm an only child. So when I'm alone with my thoughts and my parents are doing parent things like cooking, I don't know, I was just playing Spider-Man. And I remember wanting a costume really badly that I grabbed like a white sweater out of my closet and I got a red Sharpie.
Oh, no. And thus it begins.
And thus it begins. I think that was the first time I did anything wrong, probably.
You know what? I also had not just the action figures from after watching the movie. I remember playing the Spider-Man, I think, PC game.
Oh, okay.
I remember trying to play it. I had no idea what I was doing. I was like, I hate this game. And I stopped playing because I had no idea what I was doing. I think I started off at a save point that someone else played. And I was like, oh, I'll just play it. And I was like, what the hell am I doing?
You're just like, you're probably swinging into the wall repeatedly.
I think I was. I would just swing somewhere and poof into a wall.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Also, I mean, that sounds like something you would do today, but like even as you know what you're doing.
I think today, if I tried to play it, it would just still make no sense to me.
Yeah. I remember I had the Spider-Man game was one of the first 2 video games I had on the Nintendo GameCube.
Wow.
Yeah, I remember it was when I was like in the first grade. I got a GameCube and it was Sonic Adventure 2 and Spider-Man. And I remember my mind being blown away by the fact that I was Spider-Man just web slinging. I don't think I ever beat like the 3rd level of the game.
That was like the big thing when playing the Spider-Man games. You were controlling Spider-Man. You were like, I'm Spider-Man swinging through New York and beating up bad guys.
I remember, well, you know what?
Batman
actually, this is before we actually get into the Spider-Man we're supposed to be talking about.
Right.
I remember over the summer I was really bored.
Mm-hmm.
So I plugged in my PlayStation 2. I popped in Spider-Man 2, which is the first one where you can like actually explore New York. Like it's GTA, but you're Spider-Man kind of, you know? And I remember playing it, and this was literally just 2 or 3 months ago, just swinging through New York. And I was thinking to myself, I wonder if I go to this game's version of Soho, will the building that I used to work at be there? Unfortunately, it wasn't, but I thought that was just so cool. And that's like every time I play a Spider-Man game, I ended up playing the Ultimate Spider-Man game on GameCube again recently. Once again, went to that version of New York's version of Soho to check if the build. And then I was like, well, why stop there? Maybe I could go to like my friend's apartment if I can just navigate to Midtown.
I know where I am.
I know exactly. Hey, this is where I work now. Crashes through the window. And then I go to work the next day and there's just a construction crew working. And I'm like, is my game cursed or am I a god?
Oh my God. I am Spider-Man.
I am Spider. Yeah, you hear like the Danny Elfman music. I'm looking at my hands. But tangent aside, I think it's safe to say that we both have grown up with some iteration of Spider-Man being a huge part of our lives. And like, he's an iconic character, and it's hard to think. It blows my mind to think that people have had such a hard time adapting him for the big screen.
Yeah.
You know, Sony can't seem to get it right, like ever. Like, okay, how many Spider-Man movies are there? There's the 3 Sam Raimis.
Yep, there's this one we're about to talk about. Right?
Yeah, but we're not counting that.
Okay, so from
we're talking about Sony ones.
Okay, then.
So
I guess Amazing Spider-Man was owned by Sony?
Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2.
Not the new ones.
I'm gonna count the Marvel Spider-Man Homecoming simply because like it is technically from Sony, even though Marvel made
Sony
it. But like that's 6 Spider-Man movies, and if you want to count Venom because it's a Spider-Man property, count Venom. So that's 7. How many of those were like quantifiably good? Homecoming, Spider-Man 1, Spider-Man 2. I like Spider-Man 3, like it's on the fence. So it's like a 50-50. So of your 7 movies, 3.5 of them are good.
They're doing a hit or miss thing and it's not working out.
Yeah.
It's like rolling the dice. Like, we'll just do this instead.
All right. So we have, but like, okay, it's not hard. It shouldn't be hard to do Spider-Man.
No.
It's ostensibly a story about a kid who wants to do better. He wants to be a hero.
He's a nobody turned into somebody.
He's figuring it out. Like, he isn't good at it yet. He's just trying to get on by.
Yeah.
You know? So...
just your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
Exactly. So, like, going to Spider-Man 77, as I'm just going to call it from now on.
Spider-Man 77. Yep.
Yeah, the 77th Spider-Man. Honestly, it's getting to the point where it feels like it.
Yeah. So, the Spider-Man 77.
Yeah, so Spider-Man 77, it has like none of the makings of a Spider-Man movie story.
Not like the traditional of what you like grew up with, Sam Raimi's and
Not even like it doesn't even follow the comic books like even remotely.
It's just
which
its
is
own.
okay. Let me preface this by saying like it's okay for something to not be faithful to its source material, in my opinion, as long as it's doing it for a good reason.
But
this was not a good reason.
No, not at all.
I mean, okay. I mean, are we gonna? I don't even know if we're gonna refer to it as a movie or a TV show. Because
it's like a movie to TV, like kind of thing, where they make the movie, but it's to TV.
Yeah. So it was originally a TV movie, sort of serving as a backdoor pilot. So what CBS was basically doing was they had a ton of superhero shows at the time. CBS is the network that brought us hits like Wonder Woman and the Hulk, which are both
Lou Ferrigno.
They're good shows. I mean, you know, I've actually seen episodes of the Hulk. That was after I watched this Spider-Man thing in high school. I ended up watching a few episodes of the Hulk on Netflix, and I really liked it.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah. So this was produced as a backdoor pilot. Basically, CBS said, we're going to air it as a TV movie. If it does well, we'll make more. We'll make it a TV show.
But it didn't go well, and they still made more.
Yeah, it didn't do so hot, but they decided, okay, whatever.
It was just a fluke.
We'll put out 5 episodes. Maybe more afterwards. Who
really
knows?
Trying to convince these people.
You play the cards right, Peter Porcupine.
Oh, no.
Which, okay, that's actually what happened with Seinfeld, too. Except in Seinfeld's case, it went a lot better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. This movie. I can't take this movie.
Yeah. This TV pilot was originally, well, it was eventually released internationally, to which I say that is depressing.
And Japan said we could do better.
Yeah. Japan said they could do better, so they made Power Rangers with Spider-Man in it. I mean, let's just get into it. I mean, right off the bat, there's no inkling of that with great power comes great responsibility message. Peter Parker is just...
Where was his responsibility in this movie? He was just running all over the place dealing with some madman.
Yeah, I mean, he does the right thing, but he doesn't do it because it's his duty to. He does it because... Like, we don't actually know why he does it. We don't know him as a brave person. There's no characterization. And you know what? That's a thing of the era. TV in the 70s was like that. I mean, complex storytelling, I'm sure it was around, but we're talking about the era of like Starsky and Hutch, you know?
Yeah.
And this show is kind of Starsky and Hutch, but just with Spider-Man. I mean, there's like disco and like porno music all over the place. He does web sling like a little bit, but we don't actually see him swing between buildings really.
No, it just kind of explodes out of his arm.
The webbing
spins out of control and goes.
What was the sound you made when we were watching? It was like yeah.
It's like one of those little fireworks you light and then they just spin out of control, make a little whistle and go, and they shoot into the air. It's basically that's. Oh my god! This movie's gonna kill me.
You know those Spider-Man, the silly string shooters that come out every time there's a new Spider-Man movie.
I had that Spider-Man silly string web shooter that you attach to the arm and you go. Psst. Oh, that thing was the best. I missed that thing.
I always wanted one, and I remember my dad bought it at Toys R Us. R.I.P. And my dad bought it at Toys R Us, and then when he realized what it was,
he said no.
He basically said no because he was like, "No, you're gonna make a mess." And I'm like, "But Spider-Man doesn't make a mess.
He's Spider-Man.
That's BS, Dad. That's some BS." And he's like, "You're 6 years old. What's BS?" Bologna stains.
Bologna sandwich.
Bologna sandwich. That's a bologna sandwich, old man.
But I have 2 other brothers, so there was only one, and we all had to share that damn thing. So we were all like fighting over the damn thing. And then at one point, my parents just took it away and said, no, none of you are having it because we didn't share.
Oh, wow. Tough love.
Yeah.
But that's what it looks like. That's what him using the web in this TV show, this movie, whatever.
But that was during the first Spider-Man, the one we grew up with. But it came out of his hand, but they gave us the machine that shoots a web. So technically, they were doing the machine one like they do in the other 2 Spider-Mans, the new Spider-Mans that are out now. Like
the way it is in the comic books.
Yeah. Instead of it shooting out of his skin. You know, you could, I don't know. I'm just angry.
I'm so angry.
So angry.
You're shaking. You're like just
so angry.
Punch a wall.
It's gonna throw my phone at you.
Oh god. Again. Yeah, but okay, back to Spider-Man 77. Yeah, the web shooter. Like, okay, wait. He makes webbing in this. Does he make webbing?
I think there's a scene where he goes back to the lab and he makes his web shooters because he doesn't shoot web this entire time until he goes after that lab.
Oh, you're right.
So I think that the Sam Raimi movies are the only ones that he really shoots it out of his skin and it gets like this. He's actually turning into a spider kind of idea.
Yeah. Okay, so that actually just reminded me, one of the weirdest things about this is the pacing. So, okay, things moved slower in the 70s. Movies weren't quite as fast paced. You know, MTV wasn't around. Our brains just weren't jacked.
We weren't as developed.
Yeah. You know what? We live in an era of like fidget spinners and like Snapchat sexting. Are we really that
and
developed?
TikTok.
And TikTok. But yeah, the movie TV show, it moves so slowly.
It was.
Like, I think we didn't get any Spider-Man stuff until maybe the 50-minute mark. I think I wrote it down.
He didn't start shooting webs until like towards the last half hour of the movie.
Yeah, he didn't use webbing until the last chunk of the movie, which was insane to think because I think in the Sam Raimi movie, it's the first half an hour.
Yeah, what happens in the first?
He gets bit by the spider.
Yeah.
Goes to school. He punches out Flash Thompson.
That's right. He sees like the Spidey senses going on and all that stuff.
It goes into Matrix bullet time because it was 2002 and that wasn't overdone yet. Which you know what? I realize by the time we got to Spider-Man 3 with those movies, the Matrix bullet time thing, it was done. It was over.
It's over. Yep.
Yeah. No, they were done.
Screw your Spidey senses. We're trying to just make you more human. Yeah. Let's just throw what's his name? Bruce Campbell in more.
Yeah, just put Bruce Campbell in and then we'll call it a day.
Yep.
But yeah, there's like little to no spider. Well, okay. There's a lot of Spider-Man as in the costume in the second half of this movie, but there's no Spider-Man the character. Like he doesn't resemble Spider-Man. He doesn't act like Spider-Man. I mean, he looks like him. He's wearing the costume. And it's like a pretty decent looking costume at that. But it just doesn't feel like the character. You know, he doesn't make jokes really. He doesn't do these amazing stunts. He doesn't really have lines.
He doesn't really talk in this movie. I mean, he's talking in his lab and he says that one thing to the kendo fighters, like, yeah, I reversed the microwaves.
Oh, yeah.
And then the taxi driver. That's it. There's not really much he's talking about. He's just whooshing around New York.
He's not even whooshing around. He's like
being a lizard.
Crouching.
He's a lizard.
Yeah, you know what it looks like when you're in GTA 5 and you're like crouching and sprinting at the same time? That's what he looks like.
It's like that video. It's like that, I guess, GIF of the monkey running across the sides, like when you like get out of the shower and you forget your towel and you're running across that monkey. He's basically running like that.
That's exactly what that is. Oh my god. There's so many weird moments like that just sprinkled throughout this thing. It actually made me angry almost.
Oh.
Because okay, no. The 70s was the era when martial arts movies in the US like started to take over, you know? Mm-hmm. Bruce Lee was there. I think by the time this TV show came out, Bruce Lee was already dead. Enter the Dragon was out.
R.I.P.
Yeah. So the era of having like athletic martial artists in your content, it was here already. Like we already had the Green Hornet bringing us like all these cool karate and kung fu moves.
Yep.
So why is Spider-Man just literally doing like...
He just crawls on walls.
He crawls on walls and he like kicks, but he's still attached to the wall. It looks like there's like toilet paper stuck to his leg and he's just kicking his foot.
He's like doing mule kicks and everything and just he's pushing people around.
There was the moment where he, what was it? The kendo fighters?
Yeah, the kendo fighters. They had the kendo sticks, the bamboo swords. Yeah. And
he was fighting people with the bamboo swords.
Very poorly, might I add, fighting those people.
He like does leapfrog at one point where like one of the guys' back is revealed and he like climbs the guy's back and then kicks the other guy. He does
a donkey kick back at the two other ones.
That's what it is, yeah.
You know, because these guys haven't been training all their life to do kendo and then all of a sudden Spider-Man, ooh, better than them.
That fight scene though,
they were swinging so slow and
It was really funny because they looked like they were fighting. They looked the way I look when there's a spider in my house that I want to kill.
Smashing the bug.
Yeah, like I have a piece of newspaper and I'll swat it really quickly once. And that's the way they fought him. They held these like long bamboo swords out and they were just like, oh, it's a spider. Huh.
Fighting him like he's a nuisance.
He dodged. Whoa.
And then he's like, when he's standing on the floor, they're fighting him. He's like, he sucks. He's getting his butt handed to him, and then he gets hit in the shins. He's like, my shins. Is like his weakness.
That's right. He's like beating them up, and then one of them swatted his foot.
Just smacks him right in the shins.
Hear him. Yeah. That's the exact sound he made when he got hit.
And all of a sudden he jumps on the wall, and all of a sudden he's magically better than them. And he's like, grabbing one by the head and just pushing him out of the way, and is like slapping another guy in the head. He's like, I'm better on the walls, upside down.
This is the fight scene for the whole thing, by the way. There isn't really another fight scene in the whole thing, which, okay, I'm going to give CBS in the 70s a bit of advice.
And it was in a very 70s looking room.
Oh, yeah, it looks like
it was very weird green with shag rugs and the weird wallpaper.
I'm sure that's what the writer's room for like Happy Days looked like.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
definitely.
Like, while they're fighting in the other side of the office, you just have the writers to Happy Days going, we got to have the Fawn say something really cool. It'll really resonate with the kids. Spider-Man is in the other side. He gets hit and he's like, hey! And that's when the writers are like,
that's it.
That's it, man. That's the groovy stuff. Because it's the 70s, and that's
but the next time we see them, he disables the freaking. No, we're not gonna go there.
There's more.
What's that?
Because he escapes. So we have
the roof.
We have that terrible fight scene, and he escapes on the roof. He like climbs to the roof, shoots a web to another building, gives them this look that almost is saying like tee hee.
I'm out of here, guys.
And then he swings away. And then later,
shoots his web.
He like runs into them again, and the same exact thing happens. He goes to the same corner of the roof, latches to the same other building, gives the same look. I'm convinced it's the same footage.
But
as soon as he swings, they suddenly, out of nowhere, and they've been fighting him with a bamboo stick again. They suddenly have a flamethrower.
All three of them have flamethrowers. All of a sudden, I'm like, why didn't they use that in the first place? Screw the building. Just light that spider up. It's like a kid with a lighter and like hairspray. Poof, just burn that spider up. But out of nowhere, they just drop their candles and all of a sudden magically have flamethrowers,
Yeah.
at their flamethrower stores.
It just can't. And this, okay, so
we burned his web. That's what happened. And he falls and all of a sudden has, vertigo.
Yes, he falls and suddenly has vertigo, so he like doesn't want to swing home. I don't know.
What I would have done instead of the flamethrowers, I would have liked harpoon guns. I feel like it would have been just made more sense just to shoot a harpoon at Spider-Man and just see what would happen.
No.
Would Spider-Man get hit with the harpoon? Like,
you think? Do you really think they would have spent the money to get 3 harpoon guns? They clearly didn't want to pay for this thing, Mike. The best thing they could have done is gotten a giant tissue. A giant tissue. And a plastic cup.
It's smeared.
They just pick them up and they put them in the cup, go outside, open the cup, and just hope he doesn't come back.
Just put him into another town and just hope for the best.
They put him in a car. They drive out of New York. We cut to the inside of the car. They're listening to like, it's the 70s, so I don't know, Fleetwood Mac. And then Spider-Man's in the cup and he's like knocking on it like, guys, Guys, can you let me out?
And he just wakes up in Cincinnati. He's like, I guess I'm Spider-Man, your friend in the neighborhood Spider-Man in Cincinnati.
Yeah.
Saving the world in Cincinnati.
That actually just reminded me. In a future episode of the show, he actually goes to LA for one episode. And I remember, I don't know if it actually happened. Maybe I'm misremembering it, but I remember he goes to like the top of a building and he like gets dressed. He becomes Spider-Man. And he's kind of like, yeah, I'm going to be Spider-Man. I'm going to solve whatever mystery I have to solve this episode because it's Scooby-Doo now, apparently.
Yeah. The what row?
And then he looks around and LA doesn't have skyscrapers the way New York does. So the way I remember it, and maybe I'm projecting because maybe my brain just needs to make this more entertaining, is Spider-Man just gives like a very disappointed sigh and walks away because he can't web sling.
He's like, I can't do this.
Which, I mean, there is so much to love about that. That's one of my favorite things about Spider-Man is like he only kind of works in New York.
Obviously, we saw that. That's what happened in Avengers 4. He left New York, and what happened?
Oh God! Oh my!
I'm scared, Tony Stark. I don't feel so good. Yeah, you should have stayed where you belonged.
We actually saw that in Homecoming too. When he's like in the suburbs for the party and he has to like chase the van or whatever.
Oh yeah, and he gets his butt.
Yeah, and he can't like keep up with them because he doesn't have buildings.
You should have stayed in New York. Your bubble is New York.
Yeah.
Tony Stark knows what he's talking about.
Specifically like Manhattan, like
find the island.
Yeah, like the island.
One of the 5 points. To stay in that one point.
I feel like if he was like in Albany, he would still be pretty useless.
I'm from New York though, not that New York.
Yeah. Hey, I'm swinging here.
But the villain, they would do this stuff like with these old people would drive the cars like they'd be wealthy old people and they.
Yeah, let's actually go to the plot.
The plot.
We should have opened with that. This movie's really discombobulating, if you can't tell. But the plot of this is essentially that, I don't know, old people are robbing banks and then killing themselves. That's it, right?
Yeah, it's just like I guess they were successful old people. They had a lot of money and stuff,
which is why they decided to rob a bank.
That's why they took that. Did they rob the bank or did they take their money out? I think they robbed it because they're rich and successful. They could have just taken the money out of their account and said, "Oh, all the better," but no, they had to rob the place, and then they crashed their car very slowly, might I add. Oh my goodness! Like just like a little turn, and all of a sudden the car's poof, just dead.
Yeah, it's like 5 miles an hour. I think I remember saying that to you, like. They're driving at 5 miles an hour like it's really dangerous.
And then all of a sudden you see the villains come out, take the money and run. And then lo and behold, Peter Parker comes to the crime scene, taking pictures. When the cops arrive, he's like, hey, screw you.
But, that's right, the cop.
But like Peter goes there, he's a reporter, not a forensic analyst. He's touching the crime scene. He's putting his finger, he breaks the steering wheel off the car. He's like, whoa, whoops. Ruins the Spider-Man, you're supposed to be helpful, not destroy a crime scene, make it harder for the cops to figure out who did it.
Yeah.
That's why they want you arrested.
Speaking of that detective character.
Oh, the detective. I guess he takes place of the news reporter.
Well, no, because J. Jonah Jameson is in this. He's the old Willy Wonka looking dude.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Yeah, like he's in, J. Jonah Jameson is in this, but he's nothing like J. Jonah Jameson.
But let me paint a picture of what this detective looks like. Think Mel Brooks from Blazing Saddles. Just his character from Blazing Saddles. That's all he is. In his suit, the comb over, and a cigar in his mouth all the time. That's all he is.
That's basically it, yeah.
Just call him Mel Brooks and then we'd be happier.
You're good. You're golden.
Be all the less wise.
I think he's actually a recurring character, too.
Oh, no.
I think like he's in more than one episode.
I mean, you have to. He's basically in all this movie.
Yeah.
But he gets like pissy with Parker.
I think he gets as much screen time as Spider-Man, honestly.
Yeah.
It wouldn't surprise me.
Give New York's Finest their show.
Yeah, it's true. Because there aren't enough police procedurals about New York.
But like he's getting like, why? What is he mad about Parker for? Just like, oh yeah, he didn't.
So after Peter gets bitten by the spider.
Oh, we're just we're
just all over the place. I don't even care. Once Peter gets bitten by the spider, he was like walking or something, and then the car started. He was walking down the alley.
He was walking down the alley, and the car slowly started chasing him. I mean, slowly. He could have.
And it's a car. It's not. It's like a car with an old person in it.
But he could have walked around the car by the time the fast that car was going.
Yeah. He could have ran. He could have ran.
He could have jumped. He could have walked on the car. He didn't have to jump over. He could walk on it.
He could have ran to a Jack in the Box, waited in line during lunch rush hour, gotten a burger,
ate it all.
No.
Gotten
a plane back to New York because Jack in the Box isn't in the city.
Oh,
got back to where he was, clipped his toenails, and then took his clothes off,
changed into Spider-Man,
covered himself up in butter.
Oh my God.
and pretended he was a snail and crawled away from the car.
They still wouldn't have caught him.
You time him. He could have done it.
It was possible. Scientists have proven it.
Yeah, exactly.
It was so slow. And then he's like, oh, my cat-like reflexes. Oh, I'm sorry, my Spidey reflexes. Jump on the wall. But he didn't just jump on the wall and hold the wall and like, oh my God, how am I holding on the wall? He jumps on the wall and goes, scurry, 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 scurry.
Yeah, he does scurry up like a scared cat.
And then all of a sudden he's on the top. He's like, oh, would you look at that?
Oh, wow. Fight or flight, I guess.
He didn't question midway up climbing the wall. He's like, how am I climbing this wall? He's like, hey, it's working for me. I don't mind.
He clearly... He was watching Hanna-Barbera cartoons where like gravity and things like that don't work.
Hey, gravity turns on only when you look down.
Exactly.
That's why he only looked down. So as soon as he got to the top,
he looked down and he was like, how did I get up here?
I must be a spider or something. But I'm confirming it. No, he's more like a lizard. Because the way he walks and climbs the wall, looks around, and looks under his legs with his butt showing at us. He's like how you would like mimic a lizard. You like jolt your head around and like stick your tongue out. Yeah, he's a lizard. I bet he's sticking his tongue out under that mask.
No, it's true. He has to be.
He's a lizard.
He acts more like a lizard than a spider. You are absolutely right.
Scurries up that wall like when if a person tried to grab a lizard on a pole and it went up the wall.
So if you can't tell, this is nothing like Spider-Man.
No. The way he finds out he has powers, he jumps on a wall and scurries up, like his natural instinct to do. And he's like, I have superpowers.
Look, as one does after they've spent like 30 years, of their lives eating cereal in front of Hanna-Barbera cartoons.
Oh my God. But wait. Was, what's his name? Stan Lee in the Spider-Man, Tobey Maguire Spider-Mans?
Yeah, he appeared in those.
Okay. I was just making sure. I was like, he didn't appear in this one.
Well, yeah, it was the 70s. I mean, I'm pretty sure he was busy doing Blow or whatever Stan Lee was doing back then.
I am calling baloney on that. He should have been in that. I feel like it would have made it even better.
He should have been Spider-Man.
He should have been. He was young enough, unless he was old all the time.
No, he was born that way.
He was just born old. He's like Larry King. We don't know how old he is. He just exists.
Larry King was there during the singularity. He will be there when the sun implodes on itself.
He was the singularity.
Just, you see nothing but black and then Larry King's head just floating.
Here comes Larry King, guys.
We live inside an atom, inside Larry King's left eye.
This is me, John Malkovich.
Yeah. Big John Malkovich, but it's Larry King.
But the way he gets his powers... It's not he goes into a like Oscorp and lo and behold they have special spiders building special silk. Or how does he get an Amazing Spider-Man? Same thing?
Essentially.
And Homecoming, same thing?
We don't know.
He doesn't. Oh wait, he has the powers already. He didn't even explain it in Homecoming because
at this point,
everyone knows.
Like, just watch one of the other ones.
Beating a dead horse here.
Yeah,
but it's not. It's a regular spider. He's in his lab, playing with radioactive stuff, throwing safety out the window.
Oh yeah, that's right. They're
not a sterile environment.
He's like talking to somebody, and he's like, "Be careful if you mess up. Like we can all die."
Yeah, he's controlling this arm with radioactive material in a glass box with an arm. And I'm like, how funny would it be if the guy's controlling him? He's like, and Peter goes, "Be careful," and he just takes the arm and just goes through the glass. It's like, oh, there goes the end of the movie. Everyone's Spider-Man all of a sudden.
Attack of the Spider People.
Just bust the arm through the glass. I would have found that hilarious because I would have been like, why?
I would have preferred if they picked up like a plutonium rod or something, but it's like the claw arm. Like, when you're at like an amusement park, there's those like claw arm games.
Yeah.
I would have loved if he like picked up a rod with it. And he's like holding on. He's like, "Be careful." And the thing just drops, cracks, and there's a nuclear spill. Oh and Peter's just like, they do it so you keep putting quarters in. You keep putting quarters in to pick up your plutonium rod and do your nuclear physicist science, whatever, mumbo jumbo.
But as I was saying, he was controlling the his friend was controlling the whatever radioactive stuff in that box. But then a spider all of a sudden was somehow in that sealed box, and it just falls in the radioactive box. There's like another box within a box. He's put I think it's like a lead container to put the radioactive stuff so it doesn't leak. But the spider falls in it, and he's like, "What was that?"
Yeah, he does say that.
It's basically like, "Oh, it's just my imagination." He just Skyrimmed it. It's like, it's out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah, like it's nothing. It's probably just a bird.
Yeah, spider falls in. Usually when something goes radioactive, it dies from the radiation heat and the death. Like nothing survives. Sure. But the spider, special little spider, I give it kudos for surviving.
He was wearing.
We never see it again. I'm sad. I want to see more about that spider. But it comes out glowing green. Still picture of it, by the way. It's just a picture of it.
Yeah, it's a picture of a spider.
Glowing. And then it just scurries off. And then we forget about it. But then he's leaving his office, goes to grab something, and it like pokes it. Like it doesn't show, but he goes like, ow. Like someone poked him.
Like he's just like moving his hand around and he acts like something bit him.
Like he reached in to like grab something and like a thumbtack poked him. It wasn't like a spider, like, oh, that spider's out to get him. And he was like, poke, ow. And then he's like, oh. And he just goes on his merry way. Like, he didn't go investigate it. He didn't say what stabbed me in the laboratory that handles radiation.
Yeah.
He's like, it must have been nothing, and just went out.
If this had come out today, or like if you or I were in it, let's say, the second we get poked, what would you have done? You would have torn the place apart, I'm sure.
Like, what the hell just poked me? Nothing should be poking me in this lab. Am I going to die?
See, you're handling it a lot better than I would be.
Same.
I would honestly look at my hand, look at where I am, go on WebMD, type in radiation poisoning, start hyperventilating, call 911, decide they won't get to me in time, and then run and probably spread radiation in the process.
I'm thinking either that, or you would think you're Spider-Man and try to jump off a building and shoot a web and then just die.
Yeah, it sounds like me.
I'm Spider-Man! Uh-oh. I just might be radioactive and just...
I'm Spider-Man and I didn't pack a parachute in case I wasn't.
Maybe I can cling to the wall with my Spidey hands.
Nope, I broke my...
There go my hands.
In your version of me jumping off the Empire State Building, I try to climb onto a building and my hands are just shredded off.
Yeah, just because, they're all like...
So, wait. Are you saying my hands are like tactile spider strength and that they attach to the wall and get ripped off from gravity?
So he doesn't
or
even
just say they get shredded down the way like an eraser gets shredded down when you use it?
Yes.
To which one?
Yes. Well, let's question that. Like just in any Spider-Man, he shoots the web, jumps off the building, and whoosh. But how is that not dislocate his shoulder from the jolt down when he hits like he goes from the potential energy to kinetic energy, just swings, but like from the point of potential to kinetic,
yeah,
it doesn't like rip his arm off.
The second gravity, like the second he starts to swing, essentially,
because the laws of motion,
yeah,
object motion will stay. That's the laws of gravity, but the laws of he wants to go forward. His arm is going.
I think I have an answer.
Oh.
I guess, he has the proportionate strength of a spider. Maybe he has the proportionate durability of one. Right? Because a spider can do that sort of thing. In theory, spiders do that all the time. Do they actually swing like that?
Spiders?
Yeah.
Well, there's the spider that like shoots its web out in the wind, and the wind takes the web and they go pew, and out.
So in theory, like, I guess...
But the size... comparison though, they're small, so it's not like much. It's like dropping an ant off the Empire State Building. It's gonna fall, but it probably will live because it's light and the wind will. It's an ant, but a human on the other hand, which
but we're talking about proportion. Like everything's to scale. Like Spider-Man doesn't have the strength of a spider. He has the strength proportionate to a spider.
He has the abilities of a spider.
If a spider can lift 5 times its weight, Spider-Man is he's able to lift 5 times his weight. So maybe he's able to swing.
They do that the other Spider-Mans. And like in Homecoming, he lifts that building off himself.
No, exactly.
And pulls the boat
because
together.
he has the proportionate strength of a spider.
But not this one.
Yeah, we don't even understand this Spider-Man's powers.
I think he's just some crazy guy.
I think he's just a lunatic in a Halloween mask.
Or he did get bit by the radioactive spider, and just is in a hospital in a coma.
This is like a fever dream.
This is a fever dream.
Yeah. The last episode of this, he wakes up next to his wife, and it turns out it was a Newhart spinoff all along.
Jeez.
You like that? It was the 70s.
Yeah, it's very 70s.
It was clever. I'm getting a gold star for the day.
So we got to the how we got the powers. The stupid how he figures out he gets the powers, but doesn't have webs yet.
We didn't talk about one thing.
What?
The music. And we kind of touched on it.
Can we say what we think it's like?
It's kind of music.
It's porno music.
It's porno music.
It's 70s porno music, and it makes me very uncomfortable, especially with certain scenes.
The first time I don't know if it's the first time they play it, but one of the first times like that we noted it was when he discovers his powers. He starts climbing on stuff, and in the Sam Raimi movies, there's that like fun montage of him being Spider-Man.
Yeah, he's testing his limits, having fun, doing his thing.
No, I'm talking about like after Uncle Ben has died, when he it's basically when the time skip happened in the Sam Raimi movie between graduating high school and then suddenly it's like a few months later and he's Spider-Man. There's a montage and it's fun. People are like, who's Spider-Man? Who's this guy? Guy dresses like a spider. Sounds kind of hot. That's what's her name? That's Lucy Lawless, by the way.
Oh.
Who said that? Yeah. That's Xena and Ruby and Ron Swanson's wife. But yeah, this has its own version of that. Has a montage of Peter Parker climbing buildings to porn music.
But the porn music, oh my god! But the way he climbs these walls to the porn music, it's like a building is not just a piece of paper. It's not flat. There's grooves. There's lips, and he ignores everything. If he gets to the top of the building and there's like a roof that sticks out, he just goes straight up it, not zigzagging.
If he were doing that and you were able to like go into the world in a 3D plane, like virtual reality, and you like stepped
to the side,
he would just be climbing thin air.
He'd just be floating.
He would be floating. And I get it,
He just walks up and down. Oh, like moonwalking style.
Yeah, the tech back then was really limited. I get that.
But come on.
But it's 1977. Superman either has just come out or it is about to just come out.
There's one tech, though, they had during that movie, and that was the first person. That was decent. That was, I guess, a good idea to have.
That was cool. Because, you know what? It's cool, it's cheap, and it's lazy. That's the trifecta. No. Seriously, that's the trifecta. But you know what? This is actually creative. And Sony did it too. They did it in The Amazing Spider-Man. There are first person shots in that movie. And in this, it actually kind of works because one, it's different from those really bad green screen shots. Mm-hmm. And two, it at least is kind of dynamic. Because you're looking out the window of an extremely tall building as opposed to staring up at something is fake. I don't know.
But the porno music.
Yeah, the porno music.
That was just the lazy way of not working out. I think they put thought into it. They put thought into it.
Yeah, I think the budget went into the porno music.
But the roof, he walks in the walls and you can see him walking across windows. It doesn't oh my god! The words can't describe and how annoying that makes me. Annoyed that makes me. They just ignore how.
They just ignore basic logic.
Yes, but then he does this thing. He crawls around the outside of his house. Woo! I'm Spider-Man, and magically makes his suit.
Yeah, he just. Oh yeah, that's right. No. He's talking to J. Jonah Jameson, and Jameson's like, "Have you heard about this Spider-Man?" Oh, sorry. He says it in a lot more
spider.
The human spider.
That's a horrible name.
But have you heard about this Spider-Man or whatever? So I heard about him. Yeah, I have pictures of him at home. And then J. Jonah Jameson's like,
why?
Okay, go get him. Go get the pictures. And Peter races home and makes a Spider-Man costume. So the logic here is that it took him an hour or two tops to do all of that.
Aunt May stuff.
Using Aunt May's stuff, he made his Spider-Man suit in 2 hours and then took the pictures of him as Spider-Man.
In black and white.
Again, newspaper. That's fine.
Fine. I'll let you have that one. Oh my God.
Speaking of Aunt May, there's a weird bit of trivia while we were prepping for this that I read.
Okay.
Aunt May is played by a different person in every episode she appears in.
Really?
Yeah.
Why? I guess they all died. Each episode they died.
Look, they either all
So
died,
old.
all decided to ask for more money, or all went, yeah, no, I'm not appearing in that schlocky thing again.
Yeah, one's good enough.
Yeah. It's like an Aunt May of the Week club.
And then all of a sudden they get younger and younger in every new Spider-Man.
Yeah, they get younger and younger the first time.
And then we got the new My Cousin Vinny. Yeah, Marissa Tomei. That was good. I like Marissa Tomei as Aunt May. That's funny.
I think it's really funny that
Because every time I see her, I just think of My Cousin Vinny and her doing her like mechanic spiel.
Every time I see Marissa Tomei, and especially in the scene in Civil War when she's with Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah.
One, I just think of the fact that they dated in the 90s.
Marissa Tomei and Robert Downey Jr. dated?
I believe so.
What?
Was
that there was like
yeah, that was his like heroin phase.
Oh, that's sad. I'm assuming Mr. Tomei was doing heroin then?
No.
Oh, okay.
I don't think so. Huh. I don't know if they actually, I think they dated. Also, I just think of their banter in Chaplin because she's in that movie. She plays like an early silent film star. And
that's right. She's the director.
Yeah. She's the director who's like, this isn't about being funny with a hose. And then Robert Downey Jr. just hoses her.
He goes the little tricky turn to the side and turns the water on like no one's watching.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I think of.
But go ahead.
Aunt May in this has no personality. I mean, none of them have a personality.
She's barely in this damn thing.
None of them are in this thing.
Just the detective and Spider-Man and the villain whose objective is to just brainwash people and just kill them. I guess.
No, he wants money. There was like a ransom at the end.
And then he disposes of them by just typing in the computer to destroy because he like brainwashes them.
Okay, so the conflict of this movie is mind control. And which did you just mouth the words gold at me? I will hit you. Anytime mind control is like a plot point, it's just some angsty garbage. No, seriously, like what good mind control stories are there? I can't think of any. I'm sure we're gonna get at least one or two tweets telling me that I'm wrong.
I feel like Austin Powers did it.
Did Austin Powers do mind control?
No, I'm just full of
it. Yeah, they didn't.
But the setting of it, it's in a church. And it's basically a cult, and they're all sitting there like, and then Peter and this girl's
right.
there.
Yeah, that's right. There's a cult it's like a cult or some sort of club that like is brainwashing people to give them money or rob people or something.
Peter's like, I'm not having it.
Yeah, no one's having this. Are you kidding me? Like, no one wants to be in a cult.
The guy, and the villain's like, yeah, if you don't want to believe in it, then you can leave. And he leaves, and he's like, all right. And he takes this girl and leaves, and then they brainwash. But haven't you been to a cult before? I feel like
don't say it like that. You make it sound like I'm like
you went to a cult. You told me this story. You went to a cult.
Yes.
This is 2 years ago, right?
Don't start a conversation with, didn't you go to a cult once? Weren't you in a cult?
Hey, and now everyone's hooked. Like, they want to know what story this is about you being in a cult.
Yes. So last year, my girlfriend and I went to this like church thing because she's studying sign language. And she had to go to a like church. She had to go to like a public function that had an interpreter at it. So we go to this church thing. We sit down and we're like, whatever. It's Sunday morning. We're at a church. It could be worse. Let's just do it. Get through this. You can write your paper about this and we can just move on with our lives. Suffice to say, it was a weird experience. We get there and first off, it isn't at a church. It's at a school.
Oh.
In a gym.
Where cults happen.
So we get there, we sit down, and we start talking to some of the people around us. There's like a very friendly girl there talking to us. She's like our age. And we're like, okay, this isn't that bad. This is just church. I mean, church isn't all that bad. It starts, and we launch into an hour-long lecture about how philosophy and tolerance are bad and how God wants to punish you for daring to study the world or daring to be tolerant of things he has deemed bad. The priest was not a priest.
The quote unquote.
He was a projector. It was literally a projector. And it was a video. I don't know if it was even a live stream or I think it was pre-recorded. And it was clearly shot in front of a green screen because
He wasn't even there.
he wasn't even there. It was shot in front of a green screen, and you can tell it was shot in front of a green screen because the background was way bigger than he was. So either he was like 3 foot, either he was 3 feet tall and had the perfect human proportions.
God deems media production bad.
Yeah, God deems size scaling unholy. But it was just weird. And it gets weirder because the girl we were talking to at the beginning, she pulled out like a book halfway through the sermon or whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking to myself, like, okay, well, maybe she's just taking notes, I guess.
Like, wasn't that why you guys were there? Just like they take notes and observe?
Yeah, but she was like clearly a regular.
Oh, okay.
But she was taking notes, and I was like, okay, that's not that weird. I mean, like, if you're into it, who am I to judge? I'm a tolerant person.
Very good. Very good.
Which is clearly why I'm going to hell. And, I'm listening to this, and like, I look over again, and her notebook is full. Like, it is full.
I was just taking good notes.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure at some point there was just like weird wingdings-esque, because like there's no way that could have all been comprehensible English. She was writing so fast. But she had this full notebook. She pulls out a Bible. It's annotated. There's pages marked. It's highlighted. And I'm like, man, she's really into religion. Good for her. I mean, again, who am I to judge? But by the time the sermon ends, my girlfriend and I are exhausted.
Mm-hmm.
We are, because like,
I'll take a lot out of you, a cult meeting.
And it was, you know what? It wasn't even just all bad. It was weird because there was like this Christian rock band playing there or whatever. And
of course,
because
in a school, separation of church and state there,
Yeah, and you have a band playing live. They were actually there. The priest wasn't, but the band was.
They can afford one.
They can afford. I'm glad they chose the band. But, the band itself was kind of weird. The band sounded like Christian rock meets like Dave Matthews Band.
That's
like,
what?
Yeah. So Crash Into You becomes like Crash Into Jesus.
Crashing into Jesus.
Crash Into Jesus.
With hugs.
With hugs. But we get out. Okay, so no. Everything ends. And we're kind of like, all right, let's go. And they're like, no, stay. There's food and drink. Have some punch. And I'm like, punch. You know what? No, I know all about the punch.
I've seen this before.
I know what happens when you offer
foreshadowing
me the punch. So
I might stay for the punch.
Yeah, I might stay for a cup or two.
You're only gonna need one.
Oh no, I will need two, my friend. I am very thirsty. Like, I'm standing at the punch bowl and someone's like, "You're only gonna need one, sir. Give me two. I am parched."
Took a lot out of me.
No, but anyway, my girlfriend and I leave and we like walk through the school. Don't say a word, like dead silent. We exit out. It's raining. Dead silent for the walk to my car. Get in the car. And then we just look at each other. And without missing a beat, we're both kind of like, so that was a cult. That was a cult, right? That had to be a cult. There's no way that wasn't a cult.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that's my cult story. I vowed to never go to that school again.
That was a cult.
Yeah.
And I bet they're listening right now and saying, oh, they're talking about us. It worked.
Yeah, someone's whittling a blade.
Just a shiv.
A shiv. But yeah, so
that's what the Spider-Man. That's what the villain is.
Spider-Man was up against. He went up against a cult in this, and that's so dumb. That's so dumb, you know. And it doesn't have to be dumb. There are examples of these kinds of stories being done kind of better. Mm-hmm. Kind of better. It wasn't done well, but kind of better. The Supergirl.
The SpongeBob movie where Plankton brainwashed everyone with that. That worked well.
Yeah, but that's because they had buckets. You see, you put a bucket in something.
They get brainwashed.
And you got garbage with a bucket on it. But no. Like, Supergirl had an episode where they there's a cult that's built around Supergirl. Like, there's a church of people that worship her.
And this is in an episode?
This is an episode of the Supergirl show.
Oh.
And it's on Netflix. But, yeah, they, worship her as a god. And they, put themselves in danger's way because they want their god to save them. And that's cool. That's like actually engaging and a cool plot. This one, not so much. Dude wants money, so he brainwashes people into giving him money. And then he brainwashes people into killing themselves if the government doesn't give him money.
But the only way, like, it's not like they go to the meeting and then they're brainwashed. They gives them a pin.
Yeah. He gives them a pin that somehow brainwashes them over, what was it, microwave frequencies.
They use microwaves. Remember you tell you this, guys, microwaves are harmless when you're below like the visible light spectrum of wavelength. It's harmless. Radio waves, microwaves, the light rays. It's when you get past that UV, gamma, and X-rays. That's the bad stuff. But microwaves, they'll just cook your food.
They just cook food.
They just cook your food.
And they don't even do that good a job at cooking your food. But yeah, okay. First off, that's dumb. That is so dumb that they get brainwashed over pins and microwaves. Second, and this is actually really good because I do want to keep the episodes around this length. Okay. The climax of the episode, movie, pilot, whatever, is literally that Spider-Man gets brainwashed.
About to jump off the Empire State Building.
The Empire State?
The Empire State Building.
They renamed it the Metpire
State Building. Sometimes I break people.
But yeah, they brainwash.
I'm a robot.
Okay, so the climax of the movie is that the guy behind all of this has brainwashed 10 people to kill themselves unless he's given a large sum of money.
Yes.
With that in mind, Spider-Man is coincidentally one of the brainwashed people.
I think how do you get the pin? He like puts it on him and said,
something like that. I don't know.
He gets brainwashed and he's about to jump off the Empire State Building because, perfect spot, New York. And he gets Well,
no. But again, that is the climax of the movie.
He's like, oh my God, Spider-Man gonna die. I really hope so. I want this movie to end.
Typically, you have a fight.
He fights the villain.
Something. We had one fight scene. One.
Well, two with the same people.
Yeah, but like the second one doesn't count. Like it was like 3 punches and then a flamethrower. But like, we had that one fight scene. I was expecting like something. I mean, I know there aren't super villains in this, so I'm kind of like whatever, but like I expected another fight. But the climax was literally, as you said, Spider-Man climbing the Empire State Building, getting ready to jump and kill himself.
Well, other people too.
Well, 9 other people plan to kill themselves also.
Not Peter Parker, though.
Yeah.
But I was saying that he went up the Empire State Building. That's going to cost him $50 to get up there. That's expensive. You can't just go up the Empire State Building and jump off. It's going to cost you.
Yeah, your life.
And $50.
Wow. You are so thrifty.
Gotta save that $50. I'm not spending $50.
Your funerals are expensive. I'm trying to help my family.
Yeah, if I'm jumping off, spending $50 to kill myself, I'm not spending the money. I'd rather give it to the family. $50 back then is a lot of money. It was before inflation. I could buy a house with $50.
That's not how that works.
That's how economics works.
Which, okay, side tangent really quick. Every time I think to myself, I want to go back in time and put money in the bank, you know what I realize?
It wouldn't go as much high. It wouldn't go high as much.
Not even that. I would go back and my money would likely be useless because they'd look at it and go, this isn't what a $1 bill looks like.
Well,
because money changes.
Yeah, but you don't say like, you don't take a quarter and then have like a quarter that has like the centennial year on it and it has the thing on the back, and then take a quarter that's like Oklahoma and say, two different things. We can't use them.
No. But like, if I took $100 bill back in time with me, right? And I'm talking like the 50s. Like, let's go back to the 50s.
Oh, you take your current money now and bring it back then.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that would never work. They'd be like, you're full of yourself.
They'd think this is counterfeit.
Yeah.
And they'd be like, this is a really bad counterfeit. No, it's not counterfeit. It has the strip. What the hell is the strip?
It worked vice versa, though, if you take money then and bring it now, because it's still money. It always exists.
But how would you get that money legitimately without Social Security, without anything, really?
I'd steal it.
I'm saying that time travel becomes really useless unless you want to steal your own identity in the past, or unless you go back to a time before Social Security. So before like 1937, 39 range.
I mean,
whenever the New Deal
if you
was.
go further enough back and get the money, like if you go back to the 1800s and take a bunch of money back to the 1800s and no one will care about it later in the future, like now, it'd be worth a lot of money.
It would be worth a lot of money, but it wouldn't have aged.
I mean, you kept it perfect. I mean,
From the 1800s?
You'd steal it. You'd hide it in a place so no development would happen, and then you dig it up later. I mean, you have to seal it up real nice so no moisture or anything, and it gets in it and destroys the money
So
and
you're
just
saying
dust.
put it in a mine. We may have to blast. That's
the bears.
Back to the Future 3 reference. Sorry. I'm sure everyone just thought I had like a massive stroke.
So we may mine. What the hell are you talking about?
You mean a mine?
So when the bear starts living it,
You just gave me the dirtiest look when I said that. You were like, what are you talking about?
so okay, the very end of the movie.
Yeah, back to the movie. Back to the movie.
You get he's about to jump. Oh my god! But the pin gets hooked on the the hook that prevents people from jumping over the edge. And
It's
it falls off.
it's actually a mind control prevention hook.
Yeah, and it falls off. He's like,
Apparently.
oh, what the hell just happened? Oh, I gotta save the world, or just the 10 people in New York.
I mean, it's the world's blending
goes up-
pot, so
I
it's the
mean-
same thing.
He goes over there, destroy what I called the pizza dishes because they're just three satellite dishes. He pulls down the tower, poof, done. Hey, he goes up to the 3 kendo fighters, ready to do a third fight scene. He's like, guys, I ended it. I reversed the microwaves. Oh, and these men, these Japanese men look like they didn't know, like they didn't understand a word of English to him. They're like, oh.
Yeah, they don't even say anything. They just kind of nod.
And let him go. He's like, yeah, he ain't gonna live. But
okay, and somehow
reverse the
him
microwaves.
reversing the microwave.
He made a fridge.
How does destroying a satellite reverse microwaves? But
I mean,
science. But like he does that, and somehow him reversing them means that the guy who was brainwashing everybody in New York or brainwashing the people, he gets brainwashed, and he just tells the guy to turn himself in. And that's the end of the movie.
and he's like, yeah. Oh, and the continuity at the last 3 minutes I pointed
Oh yeah,
out.
that's right. You caught a really funny continuity error.
Oh my Lanta. This we got the detective. He's talking to who's the other guy that he was talking to? Was it that the guy in charge of him? Or was that
It was I think it was J. Jonah Jameson,
okay?
or as I call him,
reporter?
Willy Wonka.
The reporter, right? The head reporter, the guy who's in charge of the reporters, right?
Yeah, it's J. Jonah Jameson.
So he goes, he's like, congratulations, detective. You did a wonderful job. And it's a wide shot of like them taking the villain away and him talking to him. And you could see, because the entire movie, this detective always had a cigar in his mouth. But at this point, he didn't have a cigar in his mouth. And then he's like touching his mouth. He's touching his face. You could see that there's no cigar in his mouth because he's running his mouth, like his fingers.
Yeah, he was like touching his.
He's touching his face where like if he did that, he would hit the cigar. But, and apparently, I'm assuming that the people filming this realized, wait a minute, where's the cigar? And then it cuts to a close-up and all of a sudden, the cigar is in his mouth. I'm like, no way. Nah, not by my watch.
I honestly think that the reason that continuity error was there was because the editor just gave up. I think that the editor was a huge Spider-Man fan, and he sat down on this project, at his whatever they used to edit back then. I don't know what they. Oh God, it's like on the tip of my tongue that what they probably used to edit this thing. Whatever. Editor probably sat down and was like, I'm a huge Spider-Man fan. This is going to be my project. I can't wait to edit this. And then like by the time he got to the end of the movie, everything he loved about Spider-Man, it was just passed up on. He hated it. He hates the movie. And he's just like, you know what? There's 3 minutes left in this piece of garbage. Just finish it. Let's just finish it. I don't even care about continuity, man. And that's why the cigar's there. Because it was weird. You're right. He's literally talking without a cigar 1 second. And then the next second, he's pulling a cigar out of his mouth.
If you're wondering, like, maybe the cigar was in his hand and he just put it in his mouth and then took it out. No. There was no cigar in his hand. And the cigar popped in his mouth when he got to the close-up and he was taking it out at that point.
Yeah.
So
he, even if he had the cigar in his hand, he would have literally put it in his mouth, took a baby puff, and then, like, taken it out.
And that's why I snapped. That was not going by me that quick. But that was the end of the movie. And then Spider-Man.
Oh my God. So would you watch the show after that? I mean, without me, like, would you watch it on your own?
I don't know.
You don't know?
I'm afraid to. Would I be able to comprehend on my own watching these? I feel like I just fall asleep. Feel like I just you Spider-Man.
I might honestly do that. I might, because like when my girlfriend sleeps over, we watch TV to fall asleep, and this show is pretty boring. If it's anything like I don't really remember it, but if it's anything like this pilot / movie.
I really hope it's not. Or else.
This is like the perfect thing to fall asleep to at night, though.
I feel like me and my girlfriend will watch it too and we just make fun of it the entire time.
Yeah, and I mean, that's kind of like, I don't know. I don't think I'd watch this ever again, honestly.
Yeah, this is my first time ever watching it, and I think it's my last, maybe second last time. I have to show other people and make them believe.
It's a shame because there was a moment in the show that I genuinely loved, and it was another one of those really bad moments.
Oh, Lord, the famous one.
Yeah, you know it because I quote this like I've quoted this at least once or twice a month to you for close to a decade.
Best one.
And
you said it was this one, but it wasn't in this movie.
It wasn't in this one, no. It's I think it's in a season 2 episode. The show ran for 2 seasons. But there's an episode where there's a clone of Spider-Man that's made, and he sneaks up on the real Spider-Man in a bathroom, and you just hear, so Peter Parker is like in the mirror, and you just hear a gun click, and then Spider-Man turns around and he's like, Spider-Man turns around and you see another Spider-Man standing there with a gun, and he's like, that's right, Peter. I'm you, you're me, and this is a gun. Now, don't try anything quick, because I'm thinking with your mind, and I'll see it coming.
Oh, I didn't know the rest of that. I'm you, you're me, and this is a gun. And then Spider-Man with a gun gets a lot more interesting. Spider-Man, why do you have a gun?
It's one of my favorite images of all time. It's just Spider-Man with that really dorky 70s haircut. So white. We didn't even get to talk about the haircut. Really quick, Spider-Man's haircut is Luke Skywalker's haircut from A New Hope, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking right at the A New Hope poster, and that's basically it.
Yeah, but Luke looks better with it.
Yeah, I mean, Luke looks iconic with it. Spider-Man looks like he just walked out of a Hanson music video.
He looks like he was in the 70s.
Yeah. But that about does it for the first episode, I think. I hope you enjoyed it.
Yeah.
If you did, be sure to let Mike and I know by tweeting us at the Media Obscura on Twitter.
Have fun spelling it.
It's not that hard. It's
spell Obscura.
I'll spell the whole hashtag, you dolt.
Oh, then everyone's
It is the @, which is shift.
Oh, no.
Shift 2, followed by THEMEDIA OBSC. Stop looking at me with those stupid brown eyes. OBSCURA. CA. It's CA. Stop looking at me.
OBSCURA. Yeah. Podcast.
Well, no, there's no podcast at the end. It's just at the Media Obscura.
Please check us out.
Yeah, feel free to check us out. Let us know what you think.
We need you.
And, well, you need them.
I need everything.
Whoa, it's deep. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the episode.
Have a lovely morning if you're listening in the morning. Have a lovely afternoon if you're listening in the afternoon. If you're just at home at night, have nothing else to do, and you're just listening to this.
Why?
Go to sleep. It's late. Come on. It's 3 a.m. Why are you listening to this?
It's 3 a.m. You're eating Funyuns. Why? You know, statistically, someone's actually gonna run into that eventually.
Oh my.
Like, even if it's in like 80 years and he's like on this like retro thing called Spotify, he just finds it.
Have a wonderful day, everyone.